Yo, what's up everyone, and welcome to episode 13 of Mundo's news program. I'm recording this on September 11th, 2023. I'm your host, Mundo Carrillo. I hope you guys are doing well. So yeah, today is the 22nd anniversary of the attacks of September 11th, and I remember that day. I do. I was in 8th grade. I remember my grandma was taking me to school that day, and she had the radio on, and they were talking about how a plane had just crashed into the Twin Towers, or into one of the towers, and then a second plane had crashed. And then I just remember just being at school and kind of talking about it with people, and just kind of just being there as the events unfolded that day, and going home later and keeping an eye on the news, and just being in shock about what was happening. I think a lot of people, it was just that was a very shocking day, that particular day. And then I remember what happened afterwards, how everybody was just so patriotic for the longest time that I can remember. And I just remember people just not really caring about each other's differences for a while. I don't care if you're from a different neighborhood, a different race, from a different state, like whatever. We're all Americans now. And simpler times, I guess. But obviously that was sparked by a huge, huge tragedy. A lot of innocent people lost their lives, almost 3,000. And as they say, never forget. Okay, I normally don't put an episode out on a Tuesday, guys, but I've called this meeting today. I'm recording this because I feel like I can't sit on this one any longer, and that is this sort of weapons ban going on in New Mexico. So in the last episode, I told you guys about an 11-year-old boy who was shot and killed in Albuquerque during a road rage incident. Him and his family were leaving an Isotopes game. That's the AAA ball club here in Albuquerque. They were leaving the game, so like a lot of people were exiting the stadium at the time, and apparently they had cut someone off, and then that person had pulled a U-turn, got next to the car and shot at the car 17 times. 14 of those bullets actually hit the car. The boy, his name was Froylan Villegas. He died. He was declared dead at the scene. And a woman, his aunt, she was in her early 20s. She is in her early 20s. She was critically wounded. I haven't seen any word on her condition recently, so I'm not sure how she's doing exactly. Anyways, that was on Wednesday. And on Friday, 2 days later, the governor of New Mexico, Lujan Grisham, declared an open carry and concealed carry ban in all public places in Bernalillo County, Bernalillo County is pretty much just Albuquerque, which is by and large New Mexico's biggest city. So she basically outlawed guns in public places in New Mexico's biggest city. I know the wording is a ban on open and concealed weapons. That, to me, that sounds like a weapons ban, right? So she basically banned weapons in public places in Albuquerque and on state property statewide. You can still obviously have guns on your private property, but if you're going to transport guns, you have to make sure you do it like the gun is basically inoperable while you do it. So they're cracking down pretty hard here. Any violation of this is punishable by a fine. Now, she did this through a emergency order. She's declaring it a public health order, gun violence, she's saying. So this is allowing her to, get money. There's a lot going on with emergency funding and things like that. I think that's why she did it, but this decision of hers was not very popular at all. So already a lawsuit has been filed by the Gun Owners of America and the Gun Owners Foundation. And according to the New York Times, the New Mexico Shooting Sports Association, which is basically the state arm of the National Rifle Association, they might be filing a lawsuit as well. If they haven't already, today it is the first day of the week. So kind of the first day since this announcement to start of, get your lawsuits going. What's interesting, though, is that she's getting backlash from both sides of the aisle, not just conservatives, but Democrats are kind of slamming her as well. A couple of conservative state representatives here in New Mexico, Stephanie Lord and John Block, said they have filed articles of impeachment against Lujan Grisham. And nationally, Representative Ted Lieu of California, I'm going to pull up his tweet, actually. He had a good tweet. So the other day, on Saturday, he tweeted out, "I support gun safety laws. However, this order from the governor of New Mexico violates the U.S. Constitution. No state in the union can suspend the federal Constitution. There is no such thing as a state public health emergency exception in the U.S. Constitution." And she quote tweeted that, or quote posted it, whatever the fuck, because it's not called Twitter anymore. And she said, "Hey Ted, conceal and open carry are state laws that I have jurisdiction over. If you're really interested in helping curb gun violence, I'd welcome you to join our next police academy class." Wow. She's kind of being a little bitchy, if you ask me. Calling him Ted, first of all, instead of congressman or whatever. I don't know if they know each other, because Lujan Grisham used to be a congresswoman herself, but still it seemed like the decorum was kind of lost here, and just telling him to become a cop is kind of weird. I don't know. Don't like that response at all. She kind of got snarky about that one. Also, even David Hogg, if you guys know David Hogg, he survived that big school shooting in Florida, that Marjorie Stoneman shooting a couple years back, and he's been, again, a big gun safety advocate ever since, and he even said that this was whack, that it's unconstitutional. Elon Musk weighed in, saying something about removing her from office. And what's crazy too, you guys, is that a lot of the violence is going on in Albuquerque. Albuquerque is a violent city. A lot of homicides, a lot of violent crime. But Albuquerque Police Chief Harold Medina said his department would not enforce this, and they cited the possibility of possibly getting sued, possibly have some kind of civil liability held against him or his officers. Also, they're in the middle of a reform agreement with the Department of Justice over some maybe unjustified police shootings that have happened in the past with the department. So they're under the federal microscope as well. So he just doesn't want that smoke. He probably doesn't agree with it personally. I'm not sure. But anyways, the police department in Albuquerque, where all the violence is happening, they're the ones investigating the shooting death, and they don't want to enforce it. So what does that tell you? The Bernalillo County Sheriff also said he's not going to enforce it. He said it's unconstitutional. She ripped him up in a story to NBC News. Let's see if I could find that. This is from NBC News. John Allen. He said it's unconstitutional. No way we could enforce that. She responded in a statement to the organization saying, "I don't need a lecture on constitutionality from Sheriff Allen. What I need is action." And then she goes on. There's a whole nother paragraph about just him being weak. Basically, say I'm gonna jump down here to the bottom of the quote. "We've given you the tools, Sheriff Allen. Now stop being squeamish about using them. I will not back down from doing what's right, and I will always put the safety of the people of New Mexico first." By tools, she is referring to this the red flag law, where you could report somebody who's kind of acting. I don't want to go over the specifics here, but if you suspect they might be a danger to themselves or others, you can kind of tell the cops about it, and they can get a judge to not allow them to buy firearms. There's been a lot of gun reform happening recently in New Mexico. There has, but I guess she's saying here that the law enforcement hasn't been enforcing it. And to be fair, the red flag law hasn't been used that much ever since it was passed a few years ago. So there is that. But it seems like she's kind of putting all that on him, but also not addressing her possibly unconstitutional ban on guns there. Like, she's totally kind of deflecting, right? Like he's saying that what she's doing is unconstitutional. She's saying just enforce it regardless. And I should have probably said this a while back. She said at this press conference that was held on Friday, where she announced this whole thing, that she wasn't even sure if this was going to prevail in court. So it's coming out of her mouth directly that this may be unconstitutional, or that it may just get shot down in court. She's saying that. So that brings up the question of why even do it in the first place? Why waste the time? Why spend the money fighting it in court? Why do any of this if you're not even sure it's constitutional? That's what's wild to me. And she did say that, hey, an 11-year-old got shot. That was within a month of a 5-year-old getting shot while she was sleeping in her bed during some kind of weird drive-by shooting by a bunch of teenagers. And she's saying, I got to do something about it. And yes, you're the governor. You do have to do something about it. But does taking away people's constitutional rights, is that the right move? And I just don't know what this solves. By banning guns in public for 30 days, but I should have iterated here that this is only for 30 days, but I don't think it's going to last those 30 days, to be quite honest. But I just don't know what it solves. I just don't know. These criminals, these jackasses who are just shooting, not giving a fuck about if someone dies or not, if a child dies, they don't care about these like little open or concealed carry laws. Like, they don't care. This is only punishing lawful gun owners. It really is. So I just don't understand what she's trying to accomplish. She also said that She's using this to spur a debate, to start a debate about gun reform or whatever. And it's just, I think you could do that again without taking away the constitutional right and without wasting money. I mean, this is going to take a lot of money to fight in court and stuff, and it just doesn't seem worth it. You know, there could be other way. I mean, I don't know. Clearly, no one knows. Nobody knows how to stop gun violence. Clearly, we have no idea how to do that. But as the Constitution is written, we do have the right to bear arms. And by the way, the Supreme Court did rule last year that Americans do have the right to carry guns in public. The Supreme Court, dude, that is the Supreme Court of the land saying that. She must have missed that memo because she still went ahead with this. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's going to last the 30 days. It might get shot down in court immediately if they can somehow get an immediate sort of hearing on it. It's an interesting one. This has gained national attention. It doesn't seem like anyone's really on her side. I know there's an organization. Their name is slipping me. Oh my gosh. Anyways, there's an anti-gun violence organization here in New Mexico, and they kind of support it. At least in their statement, their president saying that, like, yeah, she has to do something about it, but I think they kind of have to say that in a way. I don't know. Like, I don't know if their arm was kind of twisted into saying that, as opposed to being like, because their whole thing is like, yeah, like, stop shooting each other. So I don't know. But anyways, that seems to be like the only people who are not against her anyway. It seems like everyone else is kind of chewing her apart on this. Yeah, and I just can't get behind her on this one. Like I said, I don't know what it solves. And I don't think shitbags care. I think they're gonna mindlessly shoot at people no matter what. So, and I get it. There was a shooting at a movie theater this year that was over nothing. You know, it's just Albuquerque is just a violent city. But I don't think this measure is the right measure. And clearly, a lot of people agree with me, even people on her side of the aisle. So on Sunday, yesterday, a bunch of people, about 100 to 150 people, showed up in Old Town Albuquerque at the plaza there with guns just out in the open, in open defiance of the order. Source New Mexico, they reported that no cops were present in uniform anyway. So enforcement seems to be not all there anyway. Surely they got worried about all the people with guns openly breaking this executive order here. So I don't know. They sort of backed off the enforcement right away. However, the governor's office did tell Source that citations would be issued to those people somehow. Some kind of January 6th operation here. They're just gonna recognize their faces somehow through social media. I don't know how they're gonna do that. We don't have that kind of technology in New Mexico, so I don't think anyone's gonna get fined, and those fines might be unconstitutional anyhow, according to the Supreme Court. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Yeah, I know this was a pretty opinionated episode, but I had a lot to say about this one, clearly. And I don't even have guns. You know, I'm not even a gun guy. I probably shouldn't say that in public because I'll probably get robbed tomorrow, but you know, it's not about that. It's about the Constitution, man. And until we ratify that bad boy to ban guns or whatever we do, which we're not going to do that either, you got to just let it ride, man. There's got to be another way. There's got to be another way to stop the gun violence, or not. Maybe there's not. I don't know. I'm getting all jaded on the subject at this point. I'm just like, we're all gonna die. We're all gonna get shot. But there has to be a better way. There just has to. Anyways, I just had to let you guys in on this. So I think I'm gonna stop it right there. Thank you to the Patreon supporters, Daniel, Tony, Andres, and Emily. Really appreciate you guys. All right, guys. Until next time, my name is Mundo, and I'm out. Peace.